Hi guys, today I made this gorgeous warm goat's cheese salad and it was as delicious as it was easy. 90% of it can be made ahead of time as well, so it's perfect for a starter for a dinner party, but if this is going to be a main course or just your normal dinner, you might need to bulk it up with some crusty white bread or chips or something. The salty tang of the goat's cheese works really well with the sweetened roast peppers and the really sweet balsamic reduction. I was making this for 2 people today, but you can easily scale up the ingredients if you're making this for a crowd. Start by chopping a red pepper as fine as you'd like, but I like to leave it really chunky here. Add it to a roasting tray along with maybe 6 halved cherry tomatoes. I have these horizontally or along their equator because that means that more water will evaporate from them, concentrating their flavour. Drizzle about a tablespoon of olive oil over them and sprinkle over maybe half a teaspoon of sea salt flakes. Then roast them at 200 degrees Celsius for about 20 minutes. I'm making these ahead of time and serving them cold, but if you want to serve them warm, you should still make them ahead of time, but just put them back into the oven for another 5 minutes with the goat's cheese. To make the balsamic reduction, it's so easy. Just add maybe 150 milliliters of balsamic vinegar to a saucepan with a teaspoon of sugar and let that come up to the boil and reduce slowly. As that's coming up to the boil and reducing, you should have just about enough time to toast off about 2 tablespoons of pine nuts. Goat's cheese and pine nuts are best friends. They go so well together and should never be apart. So just shuffle these about in a dry frying pan until they start to colour. It'll only take a couple of minutes. Then just take them off the heat and set them aside. By now your balsamic vinegar should be boiling and should have reduced nicely and be a little bit thicker. So once it goes nice and syrupy and has reduced by at least half, take it off the heat and let it cool. If you're stuck for time, you can sit your saucepan into a sink full of cold water. Then I took a red onion, cut it in half and then cut it into thin half-moon slices. Add it to a bowl with a little pinch of sea salt flakes, followed by a good pinch of sugar, maybe half a teaspoon's worth. And then cover the onions with acid. I'm using cider vinegar here, but white wine vinegar is really nice as well, or lime juice or lemon juice. You're then going to let the onion steep in the acid for at least an hour. The acid is going to cook the onion and take all that harsh, acrid, raw onion taste out of it. So everything until now can be done ahead of time, but just before serving, you're going to need to roast off your goat's cheese. I'm using one of these 100-gram discs per person, and I roasted them at 200 degrees Celsius for about 15 minutes, or just until they start to lose their form. To plate up, add a good handful of rocket lettuce to each plate. If you're from America, you might know this as arugula. Next, scatter over your now pickled red onion, followed by your roasted peppers and tomatoes. Then your discs of beautiful, warm, melting goat's cheese. So delicious, though they might need a little bit of coaxing to get them off their roasting tray. Then sprinkle over your toasted pine nuts and drizzle over your balsamic vinegar reduction. Then there's nothing left to do but just tuck in and enjoy. I hope you try this recipe at home. It's so easy and still really impressive. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you liked this video. If you did, be sure to give me a like below and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you can find me on social media. All the links to my accounts are in the description below, as is the link to my blog where you'll find the full recipe in more detail at www.rookiecook.org.